The Mixtape on XFM.
Hello, this is James Bradfield from the Manic Street Preachers.
And I'm Nicky. You're listening to The Mixtape on XFM. To start, I'd like to pick a track from Queens of the Stone Age, If I Had a Tale. I think it's the best album this year. Just the most interesting lyrically, musically, and it's got a kind of savage power that you don't hear very often anymore. So here's the Queens.
That was Week of Pines by Georgia Ruth. She's a solo artist from Wales, and she's just released her album. Kind of a strange track because she's a harpist and singer by nature, but it's got a kraut rock beat behind it. So I hope you enjoyed that.
Next up, I think we'll pick Stuck on a Puzzle by Alex Turner, which is on the soundtrack of a film called Submarine, one of my favourite films, and had quite a big influence lyrically on the new album. So much so that Craig Roberts, who's the star of Submarine, brilliantly, was in our video for Show Me the Wonder and was a really lovely person, great actor. All in the eyes with Craig. I think he should have been Doctor Who, actually. And it's just one of my favourite Alex Turner compositions, Stuck on a Puzzle.
Hello, this is James Bradfield from the Manic Street Preachers. That was Name of the Game by Badfinger. Probably the band that's attached to one of the most tragic stories in rock. The band were the authors of the very famous song Without You, which Mariah Carey had a gigantic hit with, and it all ended kind of badly for them, but let's move on from there.
The Manic Street Preachers.
The Mixtape
on XFM.
with Ford Sync. Your music from the sound of your voice.
The Manic Street Preachers. The Mixtape.
XFM.
I've been so alone in my bed.
Hello, this is James Bradfield from the Manic Street Preachers.
And I'm Nicky. You're listening to The Mixtape on XFM. Next we have Little Girl Lost by David Axelrod, which is instrumental, which I love this record so much that I ended up sort of singing a vocal over the top, which ended up being the track Rewind the Film on our new record. So we had to get...
The verse.
Yeah, the verse of it. I had to get permission from Mr. Axelrod. But we also re-recorded every single note of it as well. It's an amazing piece of music, part of a song cycle called Songs of Experience. But I was kind of so enthralled by this for months and months. All these lyrics just kind of became inspired by the piece of music. So here it is in its most purest form. Next up, Thurston Moore's album Demolished Thoughts has been another big influence over the last couple of years. We used to play the vinyl of it in our studio in Cardiff. Kind of very restrained. It's not like Sonic Youth at all, really. Amazing picking, very Nick Drake. And this track, Blood Never Lies, it's a brilliant lyric as well. And I've always admired Thurston. I always thought he's one of the coolest looking rockers you could ever find. And I think he still is, actually. Still looks amazing. And on this record, I think he sounds better than ever.
Hello, this is James Bradfield from the Manic Street Preachers. Hope you're enjoying kind of our taste in music. This next song is a track called Parade by Magazine. And it's kind of startling how much Magazine have influenced me down the years musically. And I suppose when you think of Magazine, you think of Howard Devoto, the angular kind of insect singer of Magazine, who was just amazing, I think. And people think of Barry Adamson, who now does film soundtracks, and he's just an amazing bass player. And then they think of John McGough, who was the guitarist, who was one of my favourite guitarists ever. But people kind of forget Howard Formler. He was the keyboard player. And
Is that his real name?
Howard Formler, I think.
What a brilliant name. It must be a punk name.
Unless I've got it wrong. But he was just, for me, he was the backbone of Magazine. Kind of like amazing. There were two amazing keyboard players in the 80s in Britain. There was Mick McNeil from Simple Minds, and there was Howard Formler from Magazine. And this is called Parade.
So that was the beautiful, delicate tones of Suzanne Vega, Small Blue Thing. Really reminds me vividly of kind of being in college and doing my A-levels and stuff and playing that album over and over. And I guess it's filtered through onto our new record, which is also very acoustic and very tender and very intimate. And I forgot how much I loved that record. Put it on a few months back and I realised I virtually remembered every word. And I still like her today. I still think she got such a welcoming tone to her voice. And she's still got great hair as well, which is always good for me.
The Manic Street Preachers. The Mixtape.
XFM. With Ford Sync. The music you love on the move.
The Manic Street Preachers.
The Mixtape.
On XFM.
That was Out of My System by My Morning Jacket. I keep going back to the album from which this track is from, Circuital. Wire in the band is a much bigger fan of Evil Urges, I think, aren't you?
Yes. The one that didn't sell anything.
But Circuital, I think, is just kind of nearly a perfect album. And on a muso tip, I think it's one of the best recorded albums of the last 10 years or so.
That's why you like it.
That's why I like it. So that was Out of My System by My Morning Jacket.
And next from me, we have Inner City Blues by Marvin Gaye. There was a few kind of crucial albums that always used to be in the Enemy Top 100 when me and James were growing up, and we kind of made this pact in about maybe it was 80s actually. They had the list of the top 100 albums, Pet Sounds, Marquee Moon, and Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, and all these records. And this is the one that had a big impact on us. And I think it was, along with Public Enemy and Sly and the Family Stone, again, it had a lot of politics and a lot of social comment into it, which had a big influence on us growing up. And it stayed with me. This record, I think, sums up a lot of the moods of 70s America and a lot of the kind of political rallies and stuff. So
Great bass line as well.
amazing bass line.